Hey there, and welcome. So, you've probably nailed down the basics of being a security operations center analyst, but today, we're going way beyond that. We're going to pull back the curtain and show you the entire career map, from your very first alert to maybe one day being a leader in the whole field. Let's get into it and map out your future.
Look, you know what an analyst does, sure, but honestly, that's just one piece of a much bigger puzzle. Where do you actually fit into a company's structure? Who are you going to be reporting to? And how in the world do you get from that entry-level spot to a senior role? Those are the real questions, and in the next few minutes, we're going to answer them. To really get a handle on your role, you've got to see the whole map first. So before we zoom in on your specific team, let's start at the very top and check out the big picture hierarchy of a security organization. Okay, first things first, cybersecurity doesn't exist in a bubble. At the end of the day, it's all about serving the business. For a law firm, the number one priority might be locking down sensitive client files. But for a factory, it's all about keeping those production lines running 24/7. These core business goals are what dictate the entire security strategy. Now, the top executives, like the CEO, they're thinking about the business, not the nitty-gritty tech stuff. So what do? They hire a leader who can connect those two worlds, the Chief Information Security Officer, or CISO. It's the CISO's job to take those business needs and turn them into a real working security plan.
The CISO is kind of like the architect of the whole security program. Using the business goals as a blueprint, they're the ones who actually build out the entire security division. They create all the specialized teams, and yes, that includes the one you'll be joining, each with its own critical mission. In most big companies, this whole structure breaks down into three main teams. First, you've got the red team. These are the good guy hackers, paid to break things and find weaknesses. Then there's the GRC team. That's governance, risk, and compliance. They're the ones making sure the company is playing by all the security rules. And then there's the blue team, the defenders. And that is where your journey begins. All right, let's zoom in on your future home turf. The blue team is really the defensive heart of the entire security organization. They're the shield, the ones protecting the company from all the crazy stuff happening out there day in and day out. This is where the action is. So, what's the blue team's mission? It's simple: protect and defend. These are the experts on the front lines, constantly watching the network, hunting for threats, and jumping on attacks the second they happen. A blue team could be a tiny crew of 3 people or a huge department of 50. It really just depends on the size of the company. But the blue team itself isn't just one big group. It's got its own specialized units. You've got the Security Operations Center, the SOC. That's the front line. Then there's the Cyber Incident Response Team, or CERT, the heavy hitters for major incidents. And for pretty much everyone starting out, the journey begins right there, in the SOC. Yep, this is square one. The SOC is the nerve center, the first line of defense that deals with a never-ending flood of alerts. Inside a SOC, you're typically going to find a few key players: L1 and L2 analysts who dig into those alerts, security engineers who keep the tools running, and of course, the SOC manager who leads the whole team. So, what happens when you're a SOC analyst and you stumble upon something that's just way too big for you to handle? That's when you call in the specialists. I love this analogy. The CIRT are the firefighters of cybersecurity. When a breach is just raging out of control, they are the ones who rush in to put out the fire. It's a super high stress but also super rewarding job. Okay, so the SOC is your starting point. But right at the very beginning, you're faced with a really important choice, one that will totally shape your first couple of years. Let's break that down. Here's your first big decision. Do you want to work for an internal SOC, defending just one company, or for an MSSP, a managed security services provider that handles security for lots of different clients? An internal SOC often means a steadier, calmer pace, where you get to become a true master of a few specific tools. An MSSP, on the other hand, it's a pressure cooker. You'll be hit with a constant queue of alerts and have to learn a ton of different tools. But, and this is a big but, you'll get hands-on experience with real attacks almost every single week. Whichever path you pick to start, you've got to remember this. Being a level 1 analyst isn't the final destination, it's the launch pad. The experience you get in that first year or two, that's the fuel that's going to launch you into an amazing dynamic career. So let's talk about how to get there. Here it is, your 4-step plan to get hired. 1. Get the core skills and practice them. 2. Be proactive. I'm talking capture the flag events, keeping up with cyber news, getting certifications. 3.
prep for those interviews, and start applying. And 4, this one's important, always be thinking about your next step right from day one. And just look at where this journey can take you. After being an L1 analyst, you can go in so many different directions. Moving up to an L2 role is the most direct path, sure. But maybe you find out you love the tools and become a security engineer. Or maybe the thrill of those big incidents pulls you towards the CIRT. You might even discover you're a great leader and set your sights on becoming a SOC manager. And every single one of these roles is a step on a ladder that could, eventually, lead all the way to that CISO job. The sky's the limit, really.
So that's the map. You've seen the hierarchy, you've met the teams, and you know the paths you can take. The world has never needed skilled defenders more than it does right now. Your journey from that very first alert all the way to becoming a future leader, it starts now. So the only question left is, are you ready?